The contender to the contemptible heavens in the retirement, I say, is the covenants in the kings that the um, paladins, the kings, and the necromancers had made for whatever purpose and practice, whether it be that contempt that they wish to offer to the Lord. They say it's an offering to the Lord in the archangel, or the one candle lit, or candlelight lit for the the fall of the carcasses, or the fall of the clouds in Hosea 6, that comes seeking a purity in the fire that speaks from the mouth, the furnace that is able to take a uh, something that isn't pure and purify it into a silver or a gold, able to enter into heaven, not the hell sanctuary where the clouds are, but actually enter into heaven in the stars and fuel the stars from perishing. It's a classified um, note for everlasting life and the contempt. Yeah, or there is the elect favored by God, which is in matters of purity, an archangel, um, who sees us through and gives us that pure spirit able to speak off of that comes from the Lord of hosts. All them with the Lord of hosts who made the covenants from the very book of life that is studied in and out of um, the world and realms of the world, which are noted to be 7 or 9 realms. Um, in my understanding, the realms of each king. In this realm, Helheim, it is King David of all 12 tribes and the covenants he made. And in another realm, it is another king and all of the covenants that he made. And in another realm, it is another king and all of the covenants that he made and its sacrificial purpose. In the, let's say that in other realms there are churches and there are sacrificial purposes that are practiced in a manner of what moral ethic they chose to live by. And the longest lasting king, or the greatest king, or the battle of the realms had already once taken place, and this was the consummation of Adam and Eve finally in this realm, Helheim, where the, the spiritual world exists. I can't say what exists in another realm, but it is said and established that there are other realms that do exist in a mental respect, or a heart filled um, mind with the spirits that flow around us in a atom or molecular difference to the atom, or proton, neutron, electron, in the scientific sense of logic that has been made by man for understanding. It's like understanding the sun rising and going from one point to another in time. So the birds that are above us are also with the clouds, and they do eat the carcasses of the covenants that find themselves in the streets once the cloud has fallen. It seeks itself out and finds its animal that it made a covenant with and leads it to the street. Most likely, the animal offers itself to the Lord, or the speaker of the Lord, that it may have life or fuel for the star or purity in the seven churches to enter into heaven where the stars are. That is separate from hell's sanctuary in the clouds. Hell, where the dead waters were risen above us, separated from the earth, and Helheim, where we live as spirits in Adam and Eve until we ate the forbidden fruit and consummated childbirth, known to be the woe and world conflict in population and growth, and having uh, a choice to practice the law that has no justification and the law which is eternal that has ultimate justification, and the ark of the covenants, in the ark of the covenants by testimony. Now, choosing to, when you are a child, this is the birth and rebirth. It comes with the retirement, and in it, it is a waste or desolation by the father's choices they made and how we pay for them or how we handle it, if we pay something at all, or we overcome what it is that they could not understand or what it is that they could not overcome. And in the youth, had they understood and made something better in a foundation that grows or branches out in the upbringing of uh, all of them that eat from your table, like it reads in the Bible scriptures that I've shared. Whether or not one decides to believe that there is a God, or that there is a Lord, or that there is a spiritual realm, not all people are born awake to it. Well, all people are born awake to it until um, the upbringing itself, um, well, kills you from the spiritual realm, which is the natural way of living through birth. In birth, we are born with lust, and in that lust comes death, and it is a spirit. It is a manner, and it is a part of life, no matter how much a governing system becomes jealous or afraid of wisdom by their own practice that falls into the children. Like it says, I will turn your carcasses into the wilderness, and you will roam there for 40 years. And that reflection that is the inheritance of the land, that reflection that is into those who have inherited the land where the carcasses fall. And the speaker of the Lord that purifies that carcass into a pure gold and silver, able to go into heaven. And I can't say myself that it would be a star purified. I can only say that it can go into heaven and be a part of a star as a fuel. And whether or not it becomes the star or just a fuel, no one can really say that unless they actually have entered into heaven, which it is noted with Enoch in several passages that he had entered into heaven, and he wrote it all down as a scribe, and then came down into the flesh to speak through the Lord or the Lord's speaker. Maybe there's several steps to go. Like heaven comes down to the Lord, and then the Lord comes down and speaks in his favored one, um, that consecrates himself to understand the will between man and the will between God, which is two separate wills. And what is justification if we can't even past statutes come to an end with it, and it's just beating a dead horse that stuck in one motion can't move forward and eventually kills himself because he's stuck in an everyday routine that the spirit who seeks everlasting life, meaning if you look in heaven, the clouds are ever changing. The way the wind blows, the way the lightning falls down, or the clouds light up with lightning, it always changing. It's always something new and exciting. So for your understanding and my own memoir, for my own reminding, the light of thy countenance.